Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So guys, I want to do this just before I leave. I saw Tim Black's commentary. He did a commentary last night on Indy journalist. He gave me a really good comment, and I absolutely appreciate it. It's weird. I looked at my subscriber count, and it was over 1,000. I was feeling amazing. I was feeling absolutely amazing. And there's this weird dichotomy between this context, meaning me controlling this particular space, giving this particular commentary, and me in the real world. It's not that the person is different. If anything, it's just the freedom is different, if that makes sense. This is a space, for the most part, I control, I command. I am God of this particular arena, whatever this particular arena is. In the outside world, it's not necessarily like that. You're interacting with forces and entanglements, and so you're slightly different, even though it's the same person. The context is different. That's a weird dichotomy. It's the difference between people knowing you or finding you out on social networks, but at the same token, you have this other existence. This is just as real, just as pertinent. Even more real in the sense that that's your physical existence. It's strange. It's just very strange. I have this weird image in my head. Last night I slipped down the steps. It's like, you're feeling great. Batman has his cowl on. He saved this particular damsel that was in distress. And as he takes his cowl off, he slips down the stairs holding his Pepsi. And the dogs run downstairs with him and can drink the Pepsi. It's a weird thing, man. It's a weird thing. That shit hurt. That's an aside. I want to talk about Tim Black for a moment. In his video, Tim Black said something that was really interesting, and I kind of want to point a finger at it, because I think we take it as so naturally that we kind of forget sometimes that how the madness has become the normality or the norm. He makes a statement saying, when he's on his channel and he's giving you a commentary, you know that commentary is not being paid for. Nobody's pushing him for that commentary. That's just him. This is what I feel. I am a man, and as a man, I have a particular perspective in this particular society with my particular racial, age, all these other things stacked on. This is my perspective, and this is my honest perspective. This perspective is being dredged up from me. You don't have to worry about anybody else affecting this particular lens. Now, that's an amazing thing. That's a good thing, but that is a rare thing. So understand the society to which you live in when that becomes a rare thing. When I get here, and I give you what I'm thinking, yeah, there's no strains on me doing that. It's just me. It's just, this is how I am. If I get something wrong, you could probably figure out where I got it wrong just by listening to how I step through my pattern or getting there, how I get to that particular point and how I get to that opinion. I give it to you. But that is not your wider society. That is not your wider society, the real life that we're talking about. And understand the society to which you're in. When you hear me rant about capitalism, what I'm ranting about, when you get to the root cause of it, is this thing of scarcity and forced scarcity. Meaning people behave in ways that are based on their own self-interest. Well, that's not natural, that's the model. What we're talking about is human nature, to a certain point. People have this idea that for the most part, human nature is this or human nature is that. Oh, human nature demands people to behave this way. Those people don't know what the hell they're talking about. Human nature is malleable. Human nature can change based upon the system that human nature is in. It's like a water in a cup. You put something in a particular system, it functions. And the way that system gives their incentives. In our capitalistic system, the incentive structure says, I need to get what I can get. Now, depending on how much I'm going to get and what I'm willing to do to get it, I'm going to do what I need to do that. If I need to give you a piece of news that I know is not true, but I'm getting pushed to do it, then yeah, I'm giving you that piece of news. If I need to bribe a particular politician to do something because he can change a regulation or rule that would allow me to maybe pollute, or maybe, for that matter, get more cash from the government that would otherwise be necessary, then yeah, I want to pay that guy the money to do that. If I am a politician and people are paying me for a particular task, even though I'm there to represent my constituents, just because the people who are paid more, the people who have the most money in those campaigns typically win, then yes, the people I'm going to listen to are the people who are paying me. In one instance after another, even in your own life, you're compelled to do a particular task. You get up in the morning, you go to work, you spend 40 hours a week doing something, being subordinate to somebody else. Not because you want to, but because you need the paper to live. All of this stuff is based on What existence do I want to have? What is the range of movement? And that range of movement is controlled by cash. Ultimately, you're continuously stuck in a situation of not necessarily knowing if what a person is doing is because it's right or is because they're being compelled to do it for self-interest, meaning cash or meaning some other motive. The system to which we exist in compels that particular behavior because it allows that person to get ahead and to get more. It allows them to get more, which is the point of the system, maximization of profit. It just so happens that everything in our system is based off of profit, how much you have, how much you can accrue. The reason I'm pointing a finger at what Tim Black is saying there is because think of that particular society versus our society. If it's a rare thing for somebody to give you a perspective that you know that the perspective is coming from them, if that's a rare thing, think about your existence for that to be a rare thing. And think about the world around you that you exist in. When you're looking at mainstream media, you know those guys are lying to you. You know they're putting a story out. When you listen to a politician say something, you know his voting record. You know the things he said. He's lying to you. Why do you think he's lying to you? What incentives does he have to lie to you? Does that politician require a certain amount of money to get in office? Yes. Does that politician get that money from certain people in the society? Yes. Now, when they do those tests to see whether or not the honesty thing, or not the honesty thing, but who these people represent, meaning what are legislation that's passed. Well, that legislation usually has nothing to do with the society itself. What it has to do with are the people who are paying these guys. What I'm getting at is what Tim Black is saying is hitting at a fundamental thing that's running through our particular culture. In every instance of our culture. Media, television, commercials. I know those commercials seem innocuous. But ultimately, those commercials are there to give you some level to lie to you. Hey, this Pepsi, it's not just a soda, it's not just sugar and syrup. It's an experience. You need this experience. This experience makes you feel alive. Hey, you need these pants. For whatever reason, you need these pants. These are going to make your ass look awesome. Your ass doesn't look awesome without having these pants. Now, yes, these pants are just regular pants, but these people are lying to you because they want you to buy their products. Everything in this society is built in a way to get you to believe a particular thing. It is a rare occurrence, unfortunately, to find somebody who gives you an honest opinion and is not pressured to give you anything else other than that honest opinion. This is the beauty of independent media. This is why independent media is necessary. Yes, you're going to get wackos sometimes. But you're also going to pick people like Tim Black, and I would argue people like myself, who look at this and say, okay, this is the world that I see, and this is the reason why I'm giving you this opinion. And yes, we don't necessarily need to have this particular world. Confronting this stuff with honesty is the only way to do it. Unfortunately, the society is not structured around that. Honesty, to some degree, is penalized. For instance, Sanders. When Sanders comes out and makes the statement against the ruling elite, and people are like, whoa, this guy's talking about class. Well, yes, because class is a big fucking deal. You have a system, literally, where productivity has gone up 80, 90, 100% over the past 40, 50 years, but your wages have been slaughtered. Your wages have been slaughtered. They have been waging war on you. And then made the whole term of class warfare off the books, meaning none of these guys will say it. It is taboo to say it, even though it is the thing that is directly affecting you. It's been directly affecting you for 50 years. It's been affecting your wages for 50, 60 years. It is affecting your wages now. And whether you realize it or not, workers, under this model, for the most part, gets penalized for being workers. The more workers there are, the less positions there are, the weaker your position is going to be. The more job spaces, meaning when they're expanding these jobs, the globalization, they get ferret jobs out of the country, firing workers, but at the same time, keeping their productivity. All of these things are based on profit, maximization of profit. The worker in this particular situation is in happenstance. It just so happens the company needs somebody. The company does not want that particular person there. That person is expensive. When I make this point of saying organized workers and everything else, when I'm making this point about the system to which we exist in, I'm making these points to get across that the system is mental. It makes no fucking sense. It's bizarre to me. It's absolutely bizarre to me. It's almost like people are living in a hallucination. And in that hallucination, they take, literally, paper that doesn't exist. It's not real. When the bank gives you a loan, that bank is making the money out of thin air. And then it goes back to thin air. And yet there's more debt on that money than actually exists. It is a bizarre system. It is a bizarre system. But that paper would determine whether or not you eat. That's the amazing thing. That's the amazing thing. It's not an issue of scarcity. It's not we don't have. It's you just don't have access to. There's a difference in those things. But think about the difference in those things and why that difference exists. And does that difference need to exist? Here's the problem. Those aren't conversations on the table. Those conversations are off the table when you're talking about the parties. The people who are paying the parties. And I'm trying to hit a particular thread here in the sense of honesty. Meaning, I am giving you an opinion. I am functioning in a way that is being earnest and not pushed by anything else. I'm trying to say, in the real world, that is a rare thing to have. So, yes, the media is not going to have this conversation about class. The media doesn't want to have this conversation about class. When Sanders had this conversation about the ruling elite, these guys recoiled. Tom Perez ran with his tail between his legs as far away as he could from Sanders when Sanders said that. But that is the argument that you need to have. Those parties, those guys are paid to not have that conversation. The stuff that they dick around with when they're having conversations has nothing to do with what this particular topic is. Again, this is the topic that matters more than any other topic in politics. Nothing else gets done until you deal with the economics. Nothing else gets done. The problem is you need an honest actor dealing with that particular process, because otherwise you're going to get ridiculousness. You're going to get ridiculousness. You're going to have these identity politics issues that doesn't really hit at the point. You're going to talk about, hey, this guy's getting a tax. That guy's trying to get a policy. All of these things are minor. Hey, they don't want that transvestite used in the bathroom. Yeah, that's nice. I kind of want to talk about the economic system. It seems unfair to me. That's the conversation. This other stuff doesn't matter. This other stuff is fluff. It doesn't matter. I understand to each particular constituent of a particular issue. Yes, I get it. But your eye on the overall issue is economics. If 95% of the wealth is going to the top 1%, that means people are getting exploited. They're getting exploited. That's my point. That's the point I'm talking about. That's the point I'm saying of having an honest actor to point that out. And to have that in a politician, not just in a politician, but in a culture, in a populace. The populace needs to understand that. They need to get that. They're not going to get that from mainstream news. They're going to get that from independent news. That is the beauty of the internet, in a sense. And that is the beauty of independent news. The question is, how do you turn that into a movement? Where people understand that, holy shit, we're getting exploited and we do not have to live our lives this way. Needs to, and not just get it, they need to get it at a gut-to-bone level. A gut-to-bone level. Now, when you have a politician who gets out there and screams that into a microphone, you're halfway there. The fact that Sanders screamed that into a microphone, he's halfway there. But that needs to not just be the individual, that needs to be the populace, the mass. If Sanders had a mass of support, which he did, but I'm talking about an activated mass of support all across the country, that is an unstoppable force. It doesn't have to be Sanders. And you're not drafting Sanders. Sanders is a problem. Stop pining over it. But I'm making the point that to some degree, if you need a public awareness of it, and an honesty to look at it and say, wait a minute, this is a problem. Yes, I get it. You guys don't like to talk about class warfare. I want to talk about class warfare. It seems that the middle class and the other classes have been beat the hell out of by the upper class. And this is not me making it up. I can look at the charts and see the income distribution. I can see how the gains went. I can see the productivity going up for these particular workers, and yet the money that they're getting going down. I can see their unemployment going up. I can see the fact that their jobs are being automated. I can see these things. And yet these things don't seem to be the things we're talking about in Washington, in state councils. These things are off the table, but these things are occurring. This is our economic system. Those are the things that need to be talked about. That is an honest actor. That is an honest person looking at what's taking place and saying, holy shit, we need to change this. The society is going to have troubles. Those troubles are going to increase. Do you know that racial tensions tend to rise in economic stress? More slaves used to be killed during times of economic stress. There's no difference now. And it's not that the people are acting weird or strange. People are behaving the way people behave. You put them in a situation of scarcity. Those people need stuff. They're missing their jobs. from a white person's perspective, he sees his status going down. His status is not going down. It's just he's getting parity, or other places of people are getting parity. From his perspective, he's losing ground, relative ground. But the ground that he's losing is not really losing anything. It's just other people are getting more. But at the same token, just from his perspective, just from his relative perspective, he's seeing blacks getting more. He's seeing all these races. He's seeing all these people in the Democratic Party. Can't you see from his particular perspective, he feel a particular way? And if he was from a particular culture, he may even take that out as aggression, misplaced aggression, but aggression nonetheless. I'm getting at context. Yes, you're going to have those Trump voters feel a particular way, because those particular people have also been damaged in this particular community or this economy. They're just pointing their anger in the wrong place. You deal with economics. You deal with economics. And so yes, independent media is important, because ultimately independent media is the only place you're going to find where somebody points at that and say, hey, that's a problem. That needs to be fixed. We need to have that conversation. Yes, climate change. Yes, I get that. But ultimately, the climate change thing is completely directly related to the economics. Everything is related to the economics. How are you going to pay for your health care? How are you going to pay for college education if you want to get that for everybody? If you want to have those things, you have to pay for those things. At least in this particular model, in this capitalistic model, you have to pay for those things in a particular way. Well, that problem goes away in a different model. Automation become not an issue in a different model. All of these things are problems with the particular model you're in. The conversation you need to have in Washington is about the model. You're having that conversation now within news and independent media, but that needs to ferret out to the main populace. That's the point of what I'm saying of organized workers. I find that to be the most important component. I would even argue it's more important than putting these guys in office or putting up politicians. The movement is more important. The movement drives their behavior. It scares the shit out of them. And that's a good thing. So, again, Tim Black, good looking out dude. And I agree with you. I totally agree with you. He gave a call to arms earlier today. And I wanted to comment on the video. I appreciate it. And yes, I would love to come on your show. Love to come on your show. Thanks, guys. If you enjoy the content, feel free to share, subscribe, like. You can always support the work through Patreon or PayPal.